Streaming from Oklahoma's own digital studio, this is OU Football Update, brought to you by Brahms.
All right, hey everybody, Toby with you. It is time for another Sooner Pod early week edition. It is game week once again. Kent State, the opponent this week, 3 o'clock in Norman. And here to help me talk about everything Sooners is my good friend, my compadre here at News 9, the very talented Chris Williams, C. Willie, Room Temp Bones. What's up, Chris?
All the nicknames making it in there.
That's right. Bye week is in the rear view, and it's time to play football again, and the Sooners will do so without what was the Heisman frontrunner, John Mateer. How concerned does this make you, or should Sooner fans be, Chris?
That's a tricky question because we don't know what that timeline looks like for Mateer to return. I think worst case scenario, if he misses Texas, maybe South Carolina too, you would hope that the team is still within that margin of error where they say, okay, if Mateer is what he was before the injury, you can still make a run. In today's college football, you can lose 1 or 2 games and still be in that conversation. And Toby, the committee has a history of discussing, okay, what's the injury status? And so if they do drop a game without Mateer, I think that later down the line, the playoff committee could look at it and say, well, they were without their starting quarterback, so that wasn't a fair representation of the team. It helps that they have Kent State first. Let Michael Hawkins Jr. get his feet wet again against an opponent that isn't an SEC caliber defense.
Yeah, I want to talk about Hawkins in depth here in a second, but you're right. The timing of this, very fortuitous. The bye week plus Kent State. I think Oklahoma could beat them without a quarterback, maybe, but the different experts out there give different timelines, and everybody's guessing because they're not exactly sure the procedure that was done. It's been put out there, but you never know. But there are some that are hopeful that he could be back for Texas. That seems a little quick to me, but who knows? I don't know. Jared Goff came back in 11 days after he had a similar procedure. I think it's probably more likely it's a little bit after that, but it could have been a lot like if this had happened the week of the Texas game or even any of that span afterwards. You got 6 in a row there that are just brutal. That could have been catastrophic for them.
Yeah, and I think with his return, the biggest question is, can more damage be done if he comes back too early? Because if it's just a discomfort thing, or maybe he can't quite grip and get as much zing on the ball right away, then you can try to stick it out and then always fall back on Hawkins. Are we endangering the quarterback if he comes back early, which could lead to something? And Toby, you know what? You feel a lot better about it now than if it was any of those Heisman quarterbacks that came through Oklahoma, because as good as John Mateer's been, the defense continues to lead the way for this team. And if you're Hawkins, you're coming into a much better situation than last year. You're looking at a defense that seems to have even taken another step. You have a better offensive line, better weapons. You're a year older. So it's not a good scenario by any means, but the timing, what they have around it, it's a survivable scenario. I don't think you eliminate them. They're still moving up in the AP poll, and I think that's for good reason that they're still in that conversation.
Up to number 5 this week in the AP poll. Yeah, another thing that you take into consideration when deciding when to push John Mateer back on the field is how's Michael Hawkins playing. And Sunday night on the Blitz, you're doing a breakdown on Michael Hawkins' strengths, what he's got to get better at. Tell folks kind of your thoughts on Michael Hawkins.
Well, everyone knows the athleticism just jumps off the page. I mean, he might be the fastest, most athletic quarterback in the entire country when he's playing, but team defenses know that as well. So it'll come up for a few big plays here and there, but you can't just design an offense that's solely around Hawkins running the football. He's going to have to do some other things. And another strength, he does have a very strong arm. He does have that strong arm. He missed a few deep throws last year. He made a few. They didn't attempt all too many when he was on the field. A few things you want to see him work on and improve on, Toby, and a lot of these can be chalked up to being young. Coming out of high school, he was used to being the best athlete on the field. And so first read isn't there. I can tuck it, run, pick up 10 or more yards that way. I can make something happen, scramble. And it bit him at times last year, being young, trying to play that same way. He gets a little antsy in the pocket sometimes. I know the blocking wasn't great last year, but with Hawkins, you saw a lot more spy technique where they would have linebackers that are assigned to mirror him and they don't cross the line of scrimmage until he breaks the pocket or makes a move forward. So he actually would have had more time to settle into the pocket, go through his progressions, and he got a little antsy. And so you hope that he improved that. And then the other one, this is a huge one with the young quarterbacks, and he is still a young quarterback, but you hope and grow from it, is we would see him make a great play, step up in the pocket, make someone miss, and instead of, okay, now I'm going to eat it for a 1-yard loss, gain, whatever, or get rid of the football, he tries to make something happen downfield and he throws an interception, or he gets a little careless with the ball and fumbles it, and just taking care of the ball from that side. So they said his maturity's been great, that he's been taking those steps forward. He has a real quarterbacks coach this year and off season. He has a great offensive coordinator, 4 quarterbacks. You look at the guys that Ben Arbuckle's worked with and produced, and you say, okay, there's a good chance Hawkins has taken a lot of these steps, and Kent State will be a great game for him to take more and say, okay, get used to the speed of the game again, put what we did in practice into play, and do that. He's certainly capable of it, Toby, but there are some bad habits that he needs to have snapped throughout the offseason.
Yeah, let's sit in this for a second, because how Michael Hawkins performs in this bridge here to get it back to John Mateer, we may look back at the end of the season and say that was the pivotal period that got them into the playoff or played them out of the playoff.
Yeah.
What did we see last year in him? Well, if you can get him into the open field, he's electric, like you said. Whether that is designed run or the pocket breaks down. The first touchdown, the touchdown run at Auburn, 48 yards, I believe it was, is the perfect example. And he does have a strong arm. When he was asked to progressively read a defense, he didn't excel in that. Now, he was a true freshman last year. And so a lot of times it was first read, fire, first read, fire. What we don't know is how will he perform in a new system with a new coordinator. We don't know how will he perform with an healthier offensive line than he had last year. Now, we don't know exactly how healthy this OU offensive line is, but you got to assume they're going to be a little healthier than they were against Auburn, and they will be significantly healthier than they were for most of last season. And we don't know how he performs when he has a full array of wide receivers to throw the football to. He certainly never had that last year. And now you got Giovanni Gibson coming back in, too, to go along with Satania and Burks and Lewis and Kanik. And he has way more weapons than he ever had in 2024. It was, in a sense, all on him last year when he came in. If we're going to make a play, Michael Hawkins is going to have to be the guy to make the play. And it's not that way this year. So it will be fascinating to see 1 year older with more weapons, with hopefully a healthier offensive line, and in a completely different system. It's almost unfair to judge Michael Hawkins from a year ago. This is a different guy, a different football player. So I'm fascinated to see. Listen, they're going to beat Kent State. Okay, they're a 45.5-point favorite. I don't think you'll see much creativity at all. I don't think you'll see much quarterback run game at all from Ben Arbuckle against. Why would you show Texas anything? But if indeed Hawkins is the one to play against Texas, it'll be fascinating to see exactly how Arbuckle uses him.
Yeah, and Toby, I'll tell you right now what we're going to see a lot of, because we already saw a lot of it with Mateer, especially when they needed to get him to rhythm. The shallow crosses, get the ball out, tell Hawkins, hey, I know it's 1 or 2 yards across the line of scrimmage, put the ball in the hands of the playmakers, and that's going to open everything up, set this team up for success. And I feel like Ben Arbuckle, with a bye week, is going to be able to develop something for Hawkins where he's saying, hey, we're going to dip your toe in. We're going to get you back into this, but we're not going to put you in situations that are going to hurt your confidence or ask you to do too much for us.
Here's another name that Sooner fans, if you don't know already, you need to get familiar with. Whit Neubauer, because he is now your backup quarterback. You didn't have to think about him or study him or watch too much film about Whit Neubauer when he was 2 snaps away, but now he's 1 snap away from being in the game. And he's an interesting dude. 6'6" out of Mercer, big arm, completely a 180-degree opposite style of quarterback from Michael Hawkins. He's a pocket guy. But look for Whit Neubauer down there, and he's warming up if you're in the stadium on Saturday, because hopefully he isn't needed. But I bet they try to get him some snaps. You know, if this game goes the way Oklahoma hopes it goes against Kent State, I bet we see quite a bit, actually, of Whit Neubauer perhaps in the second half. Okay, it is Kent State. Let's quickly talk about this. The psychology of this game, the week before Texas, you got an opponent you should hammer, okay? Kent State is not very good at all. They've lost to everybody by a bunch. So if you're Brent Venables, if you're Ben Arbuckle, how do you approach this game?
Well, I mean, I think it helps that you're coming off a bye week from the sense that the guys are going to want to play football, right? They're getting in, they want to get out there. They don't care. It's like at the start of the season where they go, we don't care who we're playing. We just want to hit somebody who's not us. Like, they want to get back into the groove of it, and this is the way to do it. I think it'll be similar to what we saw against Temple and against Illinois State, where it's very basic in what you do, particularly defensively. You're going to see a lot of guys rotating through again. I bet the defense is aggressive. I mean, Brent Venables is never afraid to be aggressive regardless of who it is. And I think it is, they aren't looking ahead to Texas, but they all know, okay, we got to go out there this weekend, pop some people a few times, get back into the groove of this, and get ready for a huge, massive matchup in Dallas in about 2 weeks from now.
Bob Stoops says you never go into any game thinking about when will I put my backups in. He said that no coach ever does that. But I think the reality of the situation is, if you're Brent Venables, you want to apply a knockout blow in the first half. And if that means, you know, throw the ball deep, bring blitzes, whatever you have to do to, when we go in at halftime, this game is put to bed.
Yeah.
So that you can play your backups and take it easy in the second half. You want to win. You want to work on some things, but you want to be as healthy as you possibly can for the showdown in the Cotton Bowl. So I think they want to be up, 5 touchdowns or so at halftime so that they're relaxed coming out in the second half a little bit. Well, it'll be interesting. It is a game week, which means we will be back with you midweek with a breakdown on Brent Venables' weekly press conference. Ben Arbuckle will speak. We'll hear from several players as well. Hopefully John Mateer, hopefully Michael Hawkins. We'll break down everything we hear for you coming up on a midweek pod here on Oklahoma's Own Sports. Chris, you got one more thing?
Well, I was just going to say, Toby, knowing what we know about the players, the guys, not even really the players, but the people on this defense, part of them, I mean, they're sick. They're like Brent. So part of them going, no starting quarterback, great. Bring it on. We're going to do even more. We're going to hit even harder. We're going to affect the game even more. I think this defense loves a challenge. And so I'm getting kind of juiced right now. I think they are too. Seriously. Obviously, they want Mateer to play, but without him, I don't think there's any shying away or pouting. I think it's all right. Here we go. Let's show them what we have.
You know what? I just got hungry. And thankfully, this pod is brought to you by our friends at Brahms.
Satisfy your sweet tooth with a Brahms old-fashioned banana split. Crafted with a delicious banana, split down the middle and filled with not 1, but 3 scoops of Brahms premium ice cream flavors. To complete this masterpiece, all your favorite toppings are poured on each scoop to bring it all together in a perfect harmony of flavor. Treat yourself to an old-fashioned banana split at Brahms, where every spoonful leaves you wanting more.
All right, thanks for watching again. We'll be back with you midweek. Please like and subscribe. Our bosses get very angry with us when you don't like and subscribe. Our jobs depend on you liking and subscribing. So please do that, and we'll see you again on the midweek. Chris, adios. See you next time.
Thank you for watching this Oklahoma's Own digital studio stream. Stay with News 9, online and on television anytime for the latest news, weather, and sports.